Hey dreamers and purpose seekers, welcome to Work on Your Purpose on TL Talks. Today we're going to take a look at understanding how to reframe your ants. Today you're going to walk away with some tips and practical strategies for getting the ants out of your head. And if you don't know what I mean when I say ants, you're not going to want to miss this video. Welcome to Work on Your Purpose. This channel is for aspiring dreamers just like you to help you build your confidence to start living your dreams and work on your purpose. Today we're going to talk about ants. Yeah, that's right, you heard me, ants. Automatic negative thoughts. Before I get started, make sure that you tap that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And if you are returning, I would like to thank you for coming back and watching another video, and also being a part of the Work on Your Purpose tribe. Today we're going to talk about something that affects all of us, but often goes unnoticed. An old friend would always say to me, you have to get the ants out of your head if you want clarity in your thinking. And it's interesting to watch how ants work together to achieve a common goal. However, in this case, these ants, their goal is to continuously rewind the negative, perpetuous wheel of thought in your head. And it's something that it just happens. That's how we're wired as human beings, right? But it often goes unnoticed because we are so used to it. It just becomes like an autopilot thing, right? Think about it. You're in your car, you're driving, you're listening to music, and then all of a sudden you zone out and you start thinking about 10 different things within a 2-minute window, right? So it happens to all of us. But we're going to explore what they are and how to build awareness of them. And most importantly, how to reframe them. So let's go ahead and get started. What are ants? Automatic negative thoughts. Automatic negative thoughts are very spontaneous, as I mentioned before. They're often irrational, and they pop into our minds and bring us down. They're automatic because they occur without any conscious effort. And they're negative because of the way that they make us feel. But they also usually generally involve some type of self-criticism or doubt or maybe some pessimism. Some examples include thoughts like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed, or people don't like me. So we need to take a look at what these automatic negative thoughts are doing and how to find a way to overcome these automatic negative thoughts, or ants. The first step to overcoming ants is building awareness. Awareness is the foundation of everything. What this is going to require from you is to develop a new practice, a new habit, a new way of approaching this. That awareness is created through mindfulness. Some of the things that you can do to create mindfulness is to spend some time meditating. Meditation for just a few minutes a day can help you increase your focus and help you build your concentration, and also build awareness of what's going on in your head. So you could spend a few moments each day meditating by using focused breathing exercises and observing your thoughts without any judgment. Now that's going to be the challenging part. Now, we are so used to having our opinions and looking at things from different angles and creating labels and judgments on things. But the key is to build that mindfulness by stripping away the judgments. This way you can have a really clean look at what's really going on. But this practice helps you become more aware of your mental patterns. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not going to give you any type of psychology advice. But I do know this. Mindfulness can be achieved intentionally through these practices. So these things exist to help gain clarity and to understand what's going on internally. Another way to attack these ants is journaling. Keeping a journal, writing any of these thoughts down that you have as soon as you notice them. This is why mindfulness is very helpful and it's at the foundation, because as you become more mindful and aware, you can catch these thoughts as they happen more frequently. And you'll know that it's working when you start noticing them more and more. So, keeping a journal and writing them down to keep track is really good, because over time, you'll start to see some patterns in your thinking and maybe even some triggers that are triggering this thought. You want to stay ahead of it. This helps you stay ahead of it. Make sure that you implement journaling into your process. Another step for understanding and tackling these ants is to do some self check ins, to set regular reminders on your phone to just pause and check in with your thoughts, to ask yourself in any given moment, what am I thinking right now? How am I feeling? And how am I reacting to the things in my environment or within me? You can also keep note of that and journal that as well, so that way you can also see if there's any patterns of behavior that you see that could be triggering some of these automatic negative thoughts. Another way to get rid of these ants is to reframe them. Now, you can't spray them with bug spray because that would just be silly. You can't spray thoughts, right? And if you did, you'd probably do some damage in your brain. The way that you get rid of the ants in your head is to reframe them. This means challenging and changing those thoughts to be more balanced and constructive than what they were. And I'm going to give you some ways on how to do that. It starts by identifying the negative thought. For example, let's take a look at I'll never be successful, right? So if you say to yourself on a daily, I'll never be successful at this particular task or hobby or passion, you're going to eventually believe that, because a belief is just a thought that's thought over and over again repetitively until it becomes a belief. So eventually, if you say that you'll never be successful, you're going to believe it. So you want to next challenge that thought and ask yourself, is this thought really true? So is it really true? Do you think that you will never be successful? Well, let's take a look. What evidence do you have that supports that that's true? Let's take a look at that. You may notice that nothing comes up, or you might find something that you're going to pull and rationalize, right? Or think that it's a rational argument. But what evidence do you have that contradicts that? For instance, I've achieved many things in the past, and I am capable of learning and growing. Consider that as something to be true. That in itself is a reframe. So when you challenge your thinking, you want to look at it from a perspective of different angles and flip it, turn it around. Look at things that contradict that thought, replacing that automatic negative thought with a more balanced thought, something that's even more positive. Instead of I'll never be successful, maybe you could try saying or thinking about how success takes time and effort, and reassure yourself that you're on the right path. If you take a look at that thought, that success takes time and effort, right, and you challenge that, what evidence uh, can present itself to make that a true statement in your life? I'm sure there's some examples you can find. Take a different approach, reprogram the way you think by taking a step back, observing, analyzing, understanding, challenging, and reframing. Next is, and this is a favorite one, I keep going back to because it's so important, self compassion. Being kind to yourself during this process, being patient with yourself. You have been thinking for a long time automatically, right? It's not something that you can just disrupt and think that it's one and done, right? This is a consistent effort over time that you have to build that repetition, that practice, that behavior, that pattern, so that way you start thinking differently. And understanding that changing your thought patterns takes time and practice, it also takes commitment. So you have to make sure that you really fully are ready to commit to this process for success, because those negative thoughts, they're not going to stop. They're going to keep going. But the more you become mindful of them and you challenge them and you continue to reframe them and have a little bit of grace with yourself, you will notice the difference. You will notice progress. Here are a few practical tips to help you incorporate these practices into your daily life. First is positive affirmations. You can start with daily affirmations that are positive, that are encouraging, right? These can help set a positive tone for the day, and they can counteract your negative thoughts. Another thing that you can implement into your practice is surrounding yourself with positivity. Now, you can spend time with people if that uplifts you, but music is a great source of uplifting yourself and your emotions. Putting yourself out there in nature can help you also boost your levels of positivity. Positive environments can reduce a lot of frustration and can help you reduce the frequency of negative thoughts. So it's so important that you find things that you enjoy doing that create positive thoughts in your mind, because if you don't, you're going to get bogged down with all those ants, and you don't want all those ants in your head. Remember, you have too many ants in your head, you don't have any clarity. So you got to get those ants out. And last is to limit the negative influences. You want to reduce the exposure to negative influences, whether it be social media, the news, or the nagging coworkers, or the people that you just try to avoid because they get on your nerves because all they do is complain, right? Those are the people you want to stay away from. Some of them, you might have to deal with them. Maybe it's a family member or a close friend or a spouse, right? But you want to limit those negative influences. Again, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not going to provide any type of psychological advice, but I do know that if you limit your exposure to negative people, negative influences, you will see a positive impact. Automatic negative thoughts can be challenging, but by building awareness and learning to reframe them, you can take control of your mental landscape and cultivate a whole new mindset that is more positive, that is more confident, and that is more uplifting. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Please share your experiences and any comments or stories about how this video has helped you, and offer some suggestions on some future topics. Continue to find more inspirational content on this channel by looking at our videos, watching them, commenting, liking, and sharing them with your friends, your family, coworkers, anyone you know who you believe can benefit from work on your purpose. Until next time, keep building your dreams and work on your purpose.